Millions. This doesn't mean anything. So a bunch of white prosecutors said, we're just going to keep showing them that video. And the rest of the country is saying, we know about this. What does it? And also, Shaun, what does this have to do with anything? She wasn't beaten to keep her from leaving. She was being beaten, which is wrong, because he was pissed off or she was doing something. What was the connection? The connection wasn't that, how dare you leave and I'm going to pull you back. So that didn't make any sense. Now, remember, the jury, listen to this. The jury, this is from Manhattan, right? This is the same group of people who are predominantly Democrats who picked as a Democratic nominee this guy Zoran Mamdani, who's a commie. Anyway, so New York is crazy. These jurors are crazy. So the other day, after they're getting these notes, one guy says, "Excuse me, I don't understand the law." And they say, "Who the hell is this?" I don't know where they got Borat or somebody. We don't know if he's from a different country, but they were suggesting this guy doesn't understand either English or something. I thought that's a great defense tool. Pick people who don't speak English, and then during the course of the closing argument, use every $3 word you can. He goes, "Does this make any sense? Does this in any way jibe with the perspicacity that's been explicated or expatiated so far?" I ask you. I don't know this law. What is this? So anyway, so the judge was saying, and then they wouldn't get along. Remember that they were arguing. So anyway, so then they said, this is the best part. They said, as far as the racketeering case, it's over. So they issue what is called an Allen charge. You may have heard this, a million charges, an Allen charge. An Allen charge is an instruction. It's also called a shotgun charge, which says, now go back and really give it your best. And somebody would say, "Excuse me, did you not hear what we said? We can't figure out the answer. Go back." Why are you telling me to go back? What am I, stupid? You think I'm kidding? And Allen charge actually kind of insults them, like, "We know you don't mean this." No, I mean this. Go back. You go back. Go back here. We're going to. So anyway, they go back, and sometimes they say, "Can you believe this son of a bitch telling us to go back?" Does he? We're here. Does he think we're stupid? Does he think we're just that we? It's a weird. Now remember, the Allen charge. Prosecutors love it because they're saying, "Please try for a conviction." Defense lawyers say, "I want a not guilty or a hung jury." No, don't go back. So anyway, they told them, "You can forget the racketeering." And I'm thinking, Jesus, not even two predicate acts. Like you said, serial numbers, parking ticket, nothing. And to find them guilty, to find you guilty of the predicate act, reasonable doubt, yeah, whatever. I mean, this is why they got the mob. This is why I think racketeering is one of the most unconstitutional monstrosities that's ever occurred. Because think about your organization, the Attwood Enterprise. You got this one, this one, this one. Somebody may have stolen something. Maybe somebody did something, but it's not a part of the collective theme, the continuity of the purpose of the Attwood Enterprise. It's three people doing three separate things who happen to be a part of what you're doing. So anyway, they didn't find one. Racketeering that's why people plead guilty to racketeering, because if I give you 100 things, I've given you 100 things. Can any of you jurors find that Shaun Attwood did any of these? Well, you got nothing. So that was done. Now, to show you how stupid these media people are, they said they've agreed on a verdict as to the other 4 or 5, because remember, it's Cassie and a Jane Doe. So there was 2 counts of the Mann Act, 2 counts of sexual trafficking, whatever. Okay. So they said, good news, they found a verdict. Or they have a verdict. I'm saying, schmuck, not guilty is a verdict. What are you talking about? They think verdict means guilty. So I'm saying, good news, bad news for him. There's a verdict. Yeah. Which one is it? It's like, do you not understand how this thing works? And the coverage, another one too is, when you push, so see, I love to have a very simple case. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. I'm done. Here is a gun. This is the gun before. It's a .32 caliber Smith & Wesson. Here's afterwards. You see these numbers? They're filed off. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Find them guilty. Go home. But no, they had lube, Astro lube. You know more about the lubes than I do, Shaun. I have no idea. You know about the flavor. Don't play stupid with me. I know all about you. I know all about you. No, but the point is, Astro lube, baby oil, UTIs, all this. When I hit you with something, it's like when you tell Ziggy not to do something, which you rarely do because he's a perfect child. My God, but if you give him too much information, he's saying, I don't know what the hell this guy wants me to do. I can't follow this. He told me 12 things I'm not supposed to do. Just tell me one. Don't give me all this stuff. Be very specific. Don't touch the hot stove. Got it. So what they did was these people are sitting back and they're thinking, oh my God, are we going to see this content? Every time they saw the CASSIE video, it's like, oh, for the love of God, I know. Slow it down. It's like there's a Pruder film, back and to the left. We know this. Okay. I thought for sure at first, oh, I don't know if the jury can really grasp this. Oh, I think they did. I think they, in this debauch, remember, this is New York. This is where you can walk out of the courtroom, right there in Center Street, and there's somebody walking around with a severed head. There's somebody nude. It's right where the federal court is. Behind it, it's kind of like Chinatown and Little Italy and China. They've got open air gambling and Tai Chi. I mean, it's like this. This is New York, and you think you're going to hit us with baby oil? Baby oil. What is it? So they have maybe not a higher standard, but also kind of a more of a liberal kind of a, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, because if I went to, Valdosta, Georgia, Dothan, Alabama, they might have a hard time. They did what with baby oil? That's just perverted. Praise God. And with the death of Jimmy Swaggart, people that we lost a good one. So anyway, so all of this stuff puts together, and when the defense finally said we didn't put on any verdict, that is the ultimate F you. It's like, this isn't even worth commenting on. Closing argument for what? They didn't prove anything. Sit down, have a nice day. We trust them. Let's go ahead, tee it up. And there's nothing worse than the prosecutor says, don't you want to rebut anything? Nope. Don't you want to put on your own? What did? Nope. Nothing? Nope. And sure as hell not DIDDY. Meanwhile, DIDDY's like this, namaste. He's doing all this stuff, and he's making all these signs, and he's got the gray hair, and he knew something. Not that this is fixed. Nobody fixed this. But he's smart enough. Let me tell you something. I have a newfound respect for him. I thought he looked like a dumbass. The guy can't close his mouth. Always walks around with his mouth like a fly's gonna go. He just looked like an idiot compared to, and by the way, he's no Jay-Z, who looks completely mentally retarded. But that's a different story. But he is the baddest. He's adjudicated a real pimp. Take that, Snoop. Take that, whoever you are, Fitty, Diddy, and all that. This guy's legit. He never ratted anyone out, never took the stand, did 10 months standing on his head, which is the expression when it's so easy. He said, I'll do it. And what they're going to do now is they're going to say, we want him released pending the appeal, because they're going to appeal these two Mann Act violations. And also, Judge, where's he going? You think he's going to what, escape to Bolivia? He's got 10 months under his belt. We know where you're going. He's going to sit back. Now, if he goes back and listen to this, if he plays the post, if he becomes the voice of this prison reform. Remember Chuck Colson from the Watergate days? People that go into it. Martha Stewart didn't do it. Once they go into prison and they come out, they forget all their friends, all the people that helped them from getting their ass beaten, in the shower. But if he said, I'm going to give something back. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest country in the world. And if this can happen to me, don't tell me that being rich buys you a second tier of justice, because it does. Because if I was anybody else, this would have never happened. They were jealous of a black man, jealous of my success, jealous of the fact that I did everything. I dared to push against liquor companies. I dared to stand up for my rights. If I'm Warren Buffett, I'm a genius. If I'm Donald Trump, I'm a genius. But they didn't like the fact. Sorry about this freezing here. I don't know what the hell is going on. But anyway, so let me see.
All right, keep speaking. We can hear you fine.
Yeah. I have this frozen face disease. So he can play this beautifully. I'm telling you right now, his PR people, whatever he does, he is, think about this. He beat the federal government of racketeering. Name one organized crime, anybody you've talked to, anybody who beat racketeering. Never. It's so easy. It's so easy. That's why they do it. He beat it. He went in, a racketeer came out a pimp, which is great. He should do what Trump did. Remember when Trump had that mugshot? That was the most, he showed you. He has a picture of it in the White House. He loves it. He has got to say, I'm a pimp. I know what I'm talking about. And I decry this. I'm not proud of this. And by the way, I feel, and he also has to apologize to the ladies, to Cassie and to whoever Jane Doe is, and to the passels of male prostitutes that I had. Maybe that was the reason for it. I want to apologize because I don't mind what they said about me, but they've accused you by virtue of this as being a prostitute. You were never a prostitute. You never. The federal government just besmirched and libeled you. They're calling you a prostitute. They said that I was your pimp. How dare they? You're respectable women. Cassie is a wonderful, he can really say that. And the federal government says, no, wait. No, you called them whores. You basically gave them the Mary Magdalene effect. Thanks a lot. And meanwhile, Jane Doe. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Jane Doe remains a Jane Doe. Look what they did to her. And so now she's been labeled and adjudicated a prostitute. She never did anything of the kind. These people have no soul. They'll do anything to win their case. I mean, this is enormous. Now, one more thing. You want to go through the list of all the folks who was it, Porter or whatever? Go down the list of all the people. I'm not saying it's close to the Hillary list of, sudden surprise.
Pneumonia.
Yeah. But like we say in the South, don't buy the green bananas. You know what I mean? Don't anticipate a life unfettered by whatever, because there's a lot of people, and God knows what testimony was presented to the feds that never made it. And see, this is in my neck of the woods. I stand for the proposition that we believe in the Constitution. The Constitution won. The Constitution that protected President Trump ultimately is now this. We have a thing in our country called lawfare. And lawfare is when I target prosecution against my enemies. Lavrenti Beria, who was Stalin's person, says, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. And that's what this is. So this is a beautiful day. There's so many layers to this. And I promise you, nobody on TV is going to be doing what I've told you for the past 29 minutes, because they have a 1 minute time zone. They don't have anybody who knows what they're doing. And they have somebody who is more interested in trying to burnish their reel to sell it to some agent. I'm telling you the truth. And I've always told you, let me tell you, we had a guy in this country, George Zimmerman, who killed this Trayvon Martin. This was a tragedy years ago. I don't know if you remember it. But I said on day one, he's going to walk. Oh my God, people went crazy. I said, you don't understand. I know about the stand your ground law in Florida. I was a prosecutor. The facts aren't there. He was acquitted, as I predicted. Remember Casey Anthony? Remember Casey Anthony with her daughter? Day one, I said, they're going to find her not guilty. Why? Because they found a skull. We don't even know the cause of death. Remember the 4 types of death: NASH, natural, accidental, suicide, homicide, and undisclosed. It was a skull. We didn't know she died. We can't even go to step 2. Of course she killed, but you can't prove it. People went crazy. So it goes on and on. My position is it's not what I want, but it's what I know to be true. And there's some things that people forget. Let me say this one final thing, and then I'll let you. I know you're dying to get a word in here. But by the way, I'm a dream come true. You sit there like this. By the way, this picture right here you're seeing of Shaun, this is actually a loop. He's in the next, he's getting his car washed. He's not even here. If they charged Diddy with arson, take all the facts of the case, arson, he'd be found not guilty. Why? Because there's no fire. Not that he's a good guy, not that he's women. If they charged him with murder, he'd have to be found not guilty because there's no murder. It's not, do we like him? We'll make the facts fit the charge. What we say in this country is, so you think it's great that this dirtbag got off? Yeah, because there was no evidence of the crime. Yes. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, better that 1,000 people, guilty people, walk free than one innocent man be convicted. And that's supposedly the way it is. And I don't have to tell you about your country or others as well, but when the justice system goes, that's it. See, this is the final bulwark, the buffer between a kind of a rogue sovereign and the people. It's the only thing. It's where people get off the street and they say, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. This is, we have the grand jury system, which is a joke, and a petty jury, which is what this is. And you've got people off the street who last week did nothing. They were just regular folks, or 2 weeks ago, or 9 weeks ago. And now they're basically, they stopped. They told the federal government, no, and I mean, bitch slapped them. Pardon my French. Not racketeering, nothing. And the piddliest case they threw on and go, we need one more. Mann Act. It's also called the white slavery statute. They got Jack Johnson, the black boxer, R. Kelly, Chuck Berry, all black, by the way. Famous cases of that. It's the most, this is a century old. Crossing state lines with prostitutes? What? Oh, this is incredible.
Right, folks. While Lionel gathers his breath, let me just give a quick summary and we will go over to your questions. Lots of questions have come in. So the summary is, as Lionel called it, prosecutorial overreach. They didn't get any of the main charges. Did he beat those? We got 2 minor charges of the transportation of the people of the night across the state lines. Now the media's got this hyperbolic headline that if Diddy gets the super aggravated max and they run each charge after the other, that's a maximum of 20 years. If they run them together, it's a maximum of 10 years. And the most asked question right now is, what does Lionel think he's going to get? So
okay,
you've got to look what the presumptive is. What is the kind of average sentence of these? And then you got Diddy's back time taken off. I'm going to guess that Diddy's going to do a couple of years.
12 to 15 months, something like that, minus 10 months for credit for time served. When you are in jail and you're not allowed out and you're being held because they won't give you a bail, but you're there, you get a day-for-day credit. Now, in the federal system, we don't have parole. You have a presumptive sentence. You do basically 85% of whatever it is you get. But before, and they always say, every case, if something is, let's say, some statutes have a maximum of life, some have a maximum, sometimes of, like treason is punishable by death. It's not going to get the death penalty. I don't know about you, but if you have in the UK a speeding ticket, the maximum is a year in the jail. Well, nobody gets a year, but that's the maximum. In our country, misdemeanors, all misdemeanors are punishable by up to a year in the county jail. This is state level. Felonies are anything over a year. That's it. So if I decide in some states, for example, if you steal a fire extinguisher, it's a felony. If you steal 1,000 pieces of oranges, it's a felony. If you steal a cow, it's a felony because we say it is. Now, nobody has ever done a year for stealing, a fire extinguisher. But if you wanted to, theoretically, the maximum you could ever give somebody is 5 years. Though nobody has ever. So there always is a maximum to this. There is and people forget this. The only thing that makes something a crime, and again, I can only speak for here, is that it theoretically presents itself as a possibility of jail or incarceration as a penalty. If there's no chance of jail, it's not a crime. It's a civil infraction, an infraction. Speeding in our country is not a crime. You cannot possibly go to jail or prison. Remember, misdemeanor for jail, prison for felonies, at all. Aggravated or reckless driving, you can. DWI, drink driving, or whatever you call it. So these are just rudimentary things. So what the judge is going to do is he's going to look at this. Remember, federal judges don't care. Plus, the judge recognizes the fact that he looks like the biggest jerk, even though they're appointed for life. Federal judges never run for re-election. They are in for life, but they have a reputation. So here's this judge who's going to say, I've got this piece of crap case that obviously the jury said, and I'm going to pound him on Mann Act violations? No, I look like I'm part of the feds. He's going to say, no, if that's all you've got, I'm going to look at this as if it were all its own, because it is. It's all its own. It's all they have. He's going to look at the sentencing guidelines. You've seen it. It's a piece of paper, and they just fill in a blank. You start adding, you just check mark, and you turn it over. You got 100 to 135. You turn it over, 12 to 15 years, or 12 to 15 months, let's say. First-time offender, never been arrested, never violated parole, no violence in this case. Remember, Mann Act. Forget before, there was no violence in this supposed transportation. There were no firearms involved. Maybe, because remember, whatever you think about in the background doesn't matter, because that wasn't the subject of the adjudication. You're gonna you can't read into it. You can't say, yeah, but I know other facts. No, it doesn't work like that. So the judge is going to say this and say, based upon this, he sends the information to the prison system, the probation offices, these folks who review it, and they interview people. They interview the prison. They look at what's the most feasible. He lives in New York or lives in California. What's near? They did it with Martha Stewart. They did it with Ghislaine. What's nearby? What would best suit him? Minimum security, medium security. What would be the most? And they do all these calculations, and they'll tell him, okay, 12 a year. All of this already considering 10 months a knockoff. He is going to be the rock star because he did his time. It's almost better. We love the fact Suge Knight will never see the light of day, most probably. I don't know what the sentence is, but probably I think he's going to have a hard time. So this guy went, he kept his mouth shut. He's a convicted felon. I don't know what that does to his musical career. He never ratted anybody out. He's bigger, badder than ever. Can you imagine his story? Who gets the first interview? Who gets the first interview?
He's going to parlay this whole thing now to take his career to the next level. And my understanding is because the bigger charges he was found innocent of, they were the charges that could have enabled the government to liquidate his assets. So now he gets to keep all his assets as well?
Yes. And what he does is, let me tell you my story. I started off with this and this. At my height, and I'll tell you right now, I was worth whatever $1 million. They came after me. And remember, this is what I would tell to my audience. Who is his audience? You and me? No. I would say, this is what happens to a black man who acts uppity, who dares to become too successful. They came after me. They came after me because it killed them to see how successful I was. All of my money. I've got my family. I never asked the government for anything. Everything I did, I made. And they wanted to go after it and take it. I lost this contract. They wanted my work. And all these vultures, they wanted to buy my catalog or buy my whatever it is. And they, baby oil ad, indeed. That thing is let me tell you something. I know people, somehow he's going to do, he can't mock that, obviously. But anyway, let me finish. So he'll just say, this is my story. I'm now fighting for my life, for my children. I've got mortgage, this legal defense. What am I charged with? This has hit me with millions and millions of dollars. Great legal team. I don't begrudge them. What did I do? The government doesn't pay anything. They go back to work. They go back to work and I've got to go back to work. And now Watch what happens. My community is going to either turn their back on me. Am I radioactive? Are they going to come to my defense? Did you see anybody come to a court that day to help me? Nope. Did you? They did the same thing to Alec Baldwin. Remember Alec Baldwin? Nothing. If Alec Baldwin was Martin Scorsese or Ron Howard or Clint Eastwood, they would have been outside. I was abandoned by everybody because they wanted to see me fail. Not only the government, but my competitors. Because the only way you're going to derail me, the only way is for you to grind me. And you didn't do it. You didn't get away with it. I beat you, and I'm bigger and badder. And you know who I have to ask for that? My fans, the people, the citizens. Let me tell you something. God bless the USA. He should just, and also embrace, do this one. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to go nuts. I'm going to say, and you know what? I understand what President Trump goes through now. I understand it. We may not see eye to eye politically, but I never understood what persecution